And I just had a revelation that sometimes when we're encountering the enemy, we the situation. We want to fight the battle. We want to spearhead. We want to blame ourselves. We want to drown in guilt. We want to be accountable for every little thing. And God is not charging us with that. Sometimes the enemy is attacking you so much that it will hijack your way of thinking and try to meld your thoughts with their thoughts. So you start blaming yourself, getting into a guilt trip, and then you've fallen into a trap. You've fallen into a loop, a self-loathing loop, and like, God, why can't I do right? Why can't I obey you? And you've fallen into a trap of the enemy. I is a very dangerous self. Like, it's not self. I is a very dangerous pattern of thinking. So you have the situation where you know that you've been trusting in the Lord. You know you have faith in it, and you have faith in the progress that you've been making. You have faith in the journey. You have faith in Jesus so much so you will wander around a grocery store because you know in your heart that you're supposed to stay in that grocery store until Jesus tells you you can leave, probably to protect you, or maybe for you to meet a brother and sister in Christ, maybe to gift someone and spread a blessing. You don't know. The same way I has to be removed because you're uncomfortable for the Lord, I needs to be removed from some of these battles that you guys are facing. So this morning, my revelation happened because yesterday I was getting attacked by the enemy. Heavy. Had me parts of my mind where I was like, no, I've been delivered from this. What is happening? I'm sorry, God. I. And after speaking to my younger sister, mind you, I came to the revelation that the same way you have to remove I from your heart and your mind and your will and your way of thinking in order for obedience, faith, gladness, and trust in the Lord to reign sovereign in your heart, to reign sovereign in your spirit, sometimes you have to remove the I from the traps of the enemy. Because when you take on the guilt and shame that the enemy is trying to convince you of, you've now put those things back on your account. God does not operate in fear, anxiety, and worry. He does not keep tally of the bad things that you've done. He doesn't do that. God goes, I gave you the ultimate remitter. Jesus is blotting out the records on your behalf. But the moment you take that shame and guilt of what the enemy is trying to convince you of back onto yourself, those things are on your account again. Because you are harboring them in your heart and you refuse to let go because you need to do better. I promise I can do better, God. I promise I can do better, God. And he's like, kid, you're doing great. This is a level 7 that I put you on. You're doing amazing. But you've taken that onto yourself. And now Satan has something to accuse you of. He goes with these accounts. She's feeling guilt and shame and fear and worry and anxiety. She's mine. I can bother her now. I can, right? I have license to mess this kid up, right? And so you really have to remove the I, even from the traps of the enemy. We are not dealing with flesh and blood battles here, folks. We are dealing with principalities. We are dealing with the unseen world. So the same way when you're looking at your dad, you're like, Dad, I don't know. I can't. This battle is not mine. This looks like your battle, Dad. I'll go over here and I'll just pray. And then I'm going to go eat some cookies because I can't do this. And I know I can't. So I'm removing me from this scenario, God, and I'm handing this over to you. The same way the trap of the enemy. The moment you start to worry, you go to God. You're like, oh, that's not you. You encourage yourself in the Lord like David did. You encourage yourself in the Lord immediately. You go, God, I'm feeling worry. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling like I have guilt and shame. Absolutely not. That doesn't look like the fruit of deliverance. That doesn't look like the fruit of salvation. That doesn't look like the fruit of the kingdom. So I know I'm dealing with something bigger than me. This ain't me, God, because you said not so. And you can do that. Your Father has rigged the entire system on your behalf. God has rigged the entire system for our benefit. So if you start feeling worry Or even if you start feeling like your worst self, so the enemy is after you and on full attack, you pull back immediately. You recognize that it's not you. I don't care how guilty you are. I don't care if you're feeling stupid. I don't care if you're feeling disgusted with yourself. So is the attack on your mind. You don't claim that on yourself. You do not say, hey, oh my God, I'm back where I was. Oh no, what has happened? You do not wallow. You worship. You do not sit in that cycle. And you don't even fight back. You don't fight back because you recognize immediately that is not the fruit of the Lord. That is not the fruit of walking in Christ. That is not the fruit of the children who are going to make it to the kingdom. You stop yourself right in that moment and encourage yourself in the Lord. And you pray. You feel even a little bit of disgust. And don't get on the floor in desperation because you're a king's kid. Because desperation can make you feel like you get on the floor in desperation, you'll come up from exhaustion out of your prayer. I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm saying empower yourself with the knowledge that your Father is not checking for the devil. The devil is not on par with God. God created everything. So the moment you get down and make these things bigger than him, you're going to feel it. Okay? So get on your knees and say, my daddy. Okay? You tell them immediately, hey, Dad, I was feeling super disgusted in my mind. Some old sins I know have been delivered from. They're plaguing me. I was feeling gross. That ain't right, Dad. You said not so. Get into your word. Pull up them scriptures. Remind God that, Dad, you said not so. And I promise you, once you start reading again, once you start praying again, you're going to feel so much better because you're going to be reminded that this is not you. This is not your way of thinking. This is just a clever trap from the enemy. But it's all a lie. Thank God that the enemy cannot speak the truth. Jesus said that lying is his native language. So the moment you start feeling worry and guilt, you call that lie out for what it is. You call that lie out for what it is, you liar. Let me go tell my daddy on you. I'm not dealing with this. Jesus, you know this. You know he's lying.